Hello, hello. Welcome to welcome back to the streams. It's been a while since I've done one of these, so I'm very excited to have Josh with me today. Josh, how you doing?
Doing pretty well. How you doing, Maxie? It's good to get to talk to you again.
Yeah, you as well. And I'm doing pretty good. I'm very excited to talk about Laravel. I'm a big fan. I haven't used it in a few years. Last time I checked out Laravel was a few years ago. Not a lot of things have changed, but I remember
Okay.
like really liking it and just wanted to have more opportunities to use it more. So I'm just really curious to see what are the new things you can do. I know nothing about Livewire or any of the new stuff, so I'm very excited to learn about those
Awesome.
things. Yeah.
Sweet. You probably started using Laravel, or last time you checked it out probably was before I even started learning it. So like I started learning Laravel about a year and a half to close to 2 years ago, and
Nice.
someone coming from the JavaScript world, I was like, oh, I can I can do so much without having to pull in a whole bunch of different packages and stuff like that. So I'm excited to get to share with you today.
Nice. Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm more interested about because I also feel like it's uh, I don't know if it's my Twitter bubble or what, or if it's just more widespread, but I've seen a lot of JavaScript developers lately being more interested in Laravel because of this, because it solves a lot of the problems that we have in frameworks like Next.js or Remix or even Astro, which I'm a big fan of. Is that something you've been seeing as well? More JavaScript people jumping, or at least becoming more interested in Laravel?
Yeah, I think both like in Laravel and just like in full stack frameworks in general. Like I know that Next.js is a full stack framework, but I think there are a lot of different kind of uh, templates and stuff like that are becoming popular, but you're also just kind of like gluing together maybe like 8 or 9 different packages to
Hmm.
make that template. And so one of the things that I think Laravel and Rails and stuff like that, and like Adonis is something that comes out of the JavaScript world, is like Laravel for JavaScript. But I think one of the things that makes it popular is, one, just having everything that you need right out the gate and not having to worry about pulling in a whole bunch of different packages. But two, I think the ecosystem itself, because when you have all of those packages that are built by the same team, the same company, it becomes a lot easier. I mean, you see it in the JavaScript world a lot too, of like, hey, Next.js, it's just Vercel just released their database and stuff like that. It just
Hmm.
makes things easier when it's all in one place.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I agree with you. That's having that consistency and that having to learn the API of a single framework, and then you don't have to worry about which ORM it uses under the hood or what is being used for authentication. Like you learn the framework itself and you have everything you need, and without having to learn a bunch of different things and having to stitch together all of these different packages.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, exactly. And that's one of the things that I think why, a lot of people are talking about it all of a sudden on Twitter. Is like, you know, you you kind of can get up to speed with very minimal, especially like if you have any familiarity with, programming and how the, you know, architecture kind of fits together. But then you also just don't have to learn too much, just like you said. Like I when as soon as I needed to learn something within Laravel, like queues or email, I just go to the documentation, just copy a bunch of code, and it just kind of works. I don't have to kind of make sure I have my API route correct and all of that.
Right. Yeah. And you take that knowledge with you to your next Laravel project. You don't have to learn,
Exactly.
the API of, the ORM of the other project, which is probably different. Um,
Oh yeah.
yeah, I love that, and I also think that the fact that it has more opinions about the how you structure your application, it's also very helpful. Like I know a lot of people don't like patterns like MVC, for example, because they're too opinionated, maybe, or they force you into a structure. But I actually like that very much because otherwise it's almost like free for all, right? Like in a React application, a larger application, you'll see the patterns start to emerge, but they're not consistent in any way. So I know that in a Laravel project, for example, if I want to know where my database query is, I know I have to look in a model. It's going to be in a model somewhere. In a React application, I actually never sure. Like, did I put it in a function? Is that in a component? Is that in like a utility method? Like, it's very like almost like the wild wild west in some sense. So I think that MVC in particular, but how it's implemented in Laravel is also very helpful.
Yeah, that's really interesting that you come out. I saw your thoughts on a couple of videos that came out recently of that kind of style of like what is MVC, and that's what I'm interested to dive into today because it's funny if all goes correctly, like we'll see where the conversation takes us. But I don't know if we'll necessarily build a controller with the way that. That you're kind of building with Laravel and Livewire now, definitely with models, definitely with migrations, but it's interesting how, yes, there's opinions within Laravel of, hey, here's where your models go, here's where your views go, here's where your controllers go. But there's also so much flexibility within there too. There's packages where people kind of replace controllers with things called actions, and you're just kind of calling an action every single time something needs to happen. But now with Livewire Volt, which is basically single file components within your Laravel. So you have your view and your kind of your controller basically all in one page. It kind of makes you not have the need for separate controllers, so it kind of has that flexibility of like, okay, yes, there's co-location in specific areas, but you still have that separation concerns of like knowing, okay, where do I need to go if I need to make the change the model in any way or add a
Right.
new parameter to the model, that kind of thing.
Nice. It's great to know that. Yeah, you have that flexibility. Just very eager to learn a lot about that.
Sweet.
All right, should we jump right into the code? I know you have prepared a demo. Where should we start?
Yeah, let's actually start setting up. So one of the things that Laravel kind of provides out of the box is Herd. Laravel Herd. It's actually really relatively new, but I think let's start downloading that. And basically, even if you have PHP installed on your system, or even if you don't have PHP installed on your system, it basically gives you all the tools you need to start building with Laravel locally. So it
Nice.
gives you things like Composer out of the box. It gives you things like pretty URL. So it could just be like, okay, here's our application.test. And it just works. So yeah, I think let's download that and get that
Nice.
running.
Let's do it. I believe I've switched to screen sharing view. Before we start, go follow Josh at Josh Cirre on Twitter. I know that you're also on LinkedIn, so go find Josh there. Also, before I forget, because I always forget. Oh, and it seems that I have troubles with my keyboard. I have run out of battery, so give me 1 second.
No worries at all. It always happens at the worst
Always
times.
happens. Yes.
I have I have one keyboard, but it seems like I'm always having to charge that one. So I switched over to my Mac keyboard to get that going as well. But yeah, so what I think we'll do is we'll download Laravel Herd, which is basically it was just put out by the Beyond Code folks in Laravel, which is a kind of a subset or put in out with cooperation of Laravel. That's everything that you need, at least on Mac OS, for local development. And there's a lot of great tools within
Nice.
the Windows ecosystem and Linux ecosystem as well for just getting being able to run Laravel up to speed. When I first started learning PHP about 7 years ago with WordPress, I just remember it took me forever to get like WAMP or MAMP or whatever it was at the time, like up and running. I wasn't as smart of a developer. I still am not that smart of a developer, but I definitely, it took me a while to get it up and running.
Yeah. I haven't done that in a long time, so it's good to know they have this package. Hold on 1 sec.
Yeah, when Taylor Otwell, the creator of Laravel, he demoed this package or this application, I guess is a better word for it. I don't know what you want to call it. But he demoed this at Laracon. I think it was Laracon US this year, about 3 or 4 months ago. And it was a fresh install of macOS on a system. He's like, I'm going to do this live, and he downloaded this. So like, I was like, oh, if it works for him, hopefully it'll work for us.
Nice. All right, there we go. We're back.
Perfect.
So we have heard, and I see it includes Nginx, DNS mask, which I'm not sure what it is, and PHP, at least for what I see in the screenshot. So let's just download it.
Yep. And so it gives you easy upgrades to PHP 2. So they already have like 8.2 already installed and ready to go, which is nice.
I'm pretty sure I have a version of PHP installed locally, but I hope there's no conflicts or anything like that.
Yeah, it should recognize it and then allow us to kind of choose which PHP we use for the next, Laravel install that we scaffold out.
Mm-hmm. Very cool. Yeah, I remember trying to install all the things. It wasn't that long ago, but I tried to install like PHP and even like PHP, MySQL, Nginx manually without using any package, using like Homebrew. I think it was Homebrew.
Okay, yeah.
And I just couldn't do it. Like it was so hard to get it all work together. It seemed like it was I think I ended up giving up and just installing like a Docker container that had all the things, and I just worked off of that.
Looks like this is hanging right there. The good news about Laravel is you can still use all like Homebrew and stuff like that to do all the install, or even like Docker. So there's so many different like ways you can run it locally. This has been the one that I think has been the fastest for me to get up to speed, just because I just installed it on a new laptop last week, and just being able to be like, okay, now I'm ready to go. I can scaffold out a whole new Laravel project.
Nice.
Maybe
should I restart this?
Yeah, maybe we'll. Yeah, let's
try this again.
Restart. See how it goes. Okay. Yeah. And click on PHP.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should I install A2?
Yeah. Let's do A2. That is still what Laravel is using behind or under the hood for new Laravel projects.
Nice. It seems like I have everything now. Nginx.
Yep. Looks like we're good to go. So if we open up the terminal, let's see if it works for us. If not, we'll do it from Herd. But we can go into your wherever you want to download a new Laravel project.
Yeah, I'll see it here.
Let's see if you do like Laravel-V. Let's see if that gives us. There we go.
Nice.
So basically, Herd kind of gives us that out of the box, which is great. Just being able to be like, hey, we have Laravel Composer.
Perfect.
Everything we need to run a new Laravel project. So let's go ahead and let's start off and see where things go. Let's do Laravel new. And we can call this Note Share, because that's the application that we're going to build. Or let's do this. So the starter kit application is basically what I'd love to kind of show, because this is one of the things that fascinated me about Laravel mostly is, I don't know about you, but when I was building like specific side projects, I would be like, okay, I need auth, I need a database, and I just need all that set up and ready to go.
Yes.
Usually it would take me the first day just setting up all that and making sure I had all like the, because then you need password reset, or you don't really need password reset, and you'll just like do it manually, that kind of stuff. This basically just does it in 2 seconds.
Nice.
So let's do Laravel Breeze. That's the one we'll do. So
okay. So what will be like the differences between these two?
Yeah, Laravel Breeze is going to be kind of just basic off. So it's going to be single users um, with a gives you all the profile, all the
Hmm.
emails, password resets, all that. Laravel JetStream is kind of like your SaaS starter.
Right.
So what it gives you out of the box is still all that authentication, but it gives you things like teams. So being able to like invite someone to your team tenant,
Hmm.
as well as things like two-factor authentication.
Nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
All right. Let's start with that.
One of one of the things I always like to say is like stuff like Laravel Breeze or JetStream has more features than some people's SaaS. After
Good.
after years. Um, let's do Livewire Volt class API. So kind of this gives you, there's a bunch of different options here, and we you can see, we have React, we have API only. This is the great
Nice.
part about the Breeze stack is there's so many different ways to try it and start. So like, React a lot better than I do. So you would love just React with inertia. And basically so I'll kind of talk about what the first two are.
Hmm.
Livewire Volt is the single file component piece within Livewire. So Livewire is like specific for Laravel, and it's, think about like HTMX or Turbo, um, or I think Phoenix has Live View, which is
Hmm.
what Livewire is based off of. The class API is just kind of standard PHP classes, but all within the single file. The functional API, I like it, but it's a little bit too confusing for what we're doing, just
Okay.
because it's basically a new version of PHP. It would be very familiar to a lot of JavaScript developers in the sense that you kind of have uh, different variables for how you define state, how you define like a computer function, that kind of thing. So it's just in how the API looks, but we'll stick with class today.
Sounds good. And what is Alpine in this case?
Great question. Yeah. So React and Vue, I would say, um, inertia is, or Livewire is to inertia, and then Alpine is to React, in the sense that inertia is kind of the glue to hold React and Laravel together. With React with inertia and Vue with inertia, what you're doing is you're scaffolding out an application that says, okay, when someone hits slash dashboard, they're
Hmm.
getting this React view, and we're passing all the components, all the properties, everything to that view. And then you can do whatever you want with React after you have that data.
Hmm.
What Livewire does is it's still all um, server rendered pages.
Yeah.
And Livewire is basically Ajax calling between front end and server. Alpine is that interactivity. So, and if we ever need to like hide a div or
Hmm.
show a div, um, or have the ability to show an error message after you click on,
Right.
or while you're submitting a form. That's what basically Alpine gives you. And right now with Livewire v3, which is what this Volt is, it kind of is so intermingled with Livewire, it's very hard to tell. But if you have not used Alpine JS, it's fantastic.
I believe now that you mentioned, I believe I know which one. It's not a Laravel. It's not a Laravel API,
No,
right?
exactly. Yep, it
Uh,
is. It is separate from all of that.
Up.js. I believe I've
But
seen it for things like this where you can do
yep,
perfect. So this is a JavaScript client side API. It's not a PHP. It has nothing to do with PHP.
exactly.
Perfect.
Yep. And the reason why it's kind of in that stack is it's actually built by the creator of Livewire, Caleb Porzio.
Oh, okay. Nice. Nice. Interesting. All right. So let's go back to here. We're going to start with Vault class API for Livewire and Alpine. Let's go. Would you like dark mode? Do we want the dark mode?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Actually, let's not do it. No,
Oh.
we're good. We're good either way. Let's do this. We're not going to do any testing today, but Laravel provides some great testing frameworks out of the box.
Okay.
I prefer Pest, but you don't really need to. Doesn't really matter which one we click for this one.
It doesn't matter.
That is something I need to get better at. I have not done any testing
Okay.
at all. We don't need to initialize a Git repository just because we are going to we're going to download a repo to get things up after we try this out.
Okay, sounds good. Very cool. Nice downloading. I'm guessing these are composer packages that were downloaded here.
Yep. So we're basically Laravel brings in all the composer packages needed, and it has a lot, but it might be overwhelming out of the gate when you see a bunch of folders when we open it up. Let's go ahead and do a SQLite database. So
SQLite.
Makes it super easy to get started locally. But yeah, it's one of those things that it's a batteries included framework. So even if the things, and I think they're changing this in the newest version of Laravel 11, which should release next year. But there's a lot of things that are kind of just given out of the box just in case you need them. And they're already scaffolded out for you. Next year, I think what they're doing is kind of like defaulting to minimum and then giving you commands to scaffold out the rest if you need them.
Okay, sounds good.
Awesome.
Seeing a comment in the chat, a lot of packages. So I'm gonna briefly go over all these packages that we're installing, which is, I'm guessing this is some of these are, I'm seeing a lot of Symfony packages, which is, so Laravel uses Symfony under the hood, right, for a lot of things. I know that maybe the ORM is built on Symfony, things like that. And also like there are a lot of like Laravel packages, I'm guessing, because it's also like these are the like building blocks of Laravel in a way, right?
Yeah. Again, yeah. So they're yes, the Symfony packages are kind of Laravel specific, but also like they work well together, and so there's a lot of community packages that pull in some creators called Spotsy that they pull in as well, and then those Laravel specific ones, the majority of those you probably aren't actually using. So it kind of does give you a little bit of headroom kind of thing, but it's one of those things that it pulls it in for you so that if you ever need to use it, you wouldn't have to pull it in.
Right. So also, I'm assuming since we're using like a starter kit, we're pulling more stuff than if we were just using Laravel by itself, like only Laravel.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. So it looks like we already built a CSS file, a JavaScript file. How do we run this? Where do we go from here?
Perfect. Yeah, let's open up that folder. So if we go into the note share folder, yep. And we can open note share up in the terminal as well.
All right.
Awesome. So the first thing that we can do is we can npm run dev. So that's going to just kickstart the. Now, if we want to open up a new terminal window here in the same folder, what we can do is basically scaffold out all of the database so that we're ready to go. So if we go PHP artisan, so this is Laravel's command to basically run all of their different files, all of their different processes, all of their different commands. And then we're going to go migrate. So this is like, if you're using Prisma, it's like migrate dev. So we're going to create a new SQLite database. And there we go. So because we installed Breeze, we already got those migrations: create user tables, password reset, failed jobs, and personal access token.
Nice. Very nice.
Awesome. And since we're using Laravel Herd, what we should be able to do is open up in our browser noteshare.test, and it should just pull it up for us.
Noteshare.test.
Oh, looks like it's. Let's see.
Let's try the. They need to run this again.
We should not. If you look at. Could you click on Herd real quick?
On Herd, okay. Yes.
Let's see. So it looks like Nginx is running.
Yeah, it's running on the. If I use localhost and the port, it's I see something, but
yeah. So this is the build process for it. So it's not actually like our full application. So this is just the JavaScript bundle.
Oh, okay.
So what we can do. Okay, so if this is showing, bad gateway. I'm guessing it might be something that's conflicting with like Nginx that you already have installed. So let's do this. If you go into, let's see what it says.
Let's try to open this again. Oops.
Awesome. So instead of doing the nodeshare.test, here's what we can do is if you go into your terminal, we'll just do we'll keep this npm run dev running, but in the next tab, let's do PHP artisan serve. And if we open this up, this should give us what we need. Awesome. So
Okay,
here it is.
Nice. Yeah, this might be an issue with my own like my own like local domains that I have set up, maybe.
Okay.
So
yeah, especially if you have anything configured with Nginx, I don't think it doesn't default to overriding it within Laravel herd.
Right.
But perfect. So this will work great for us. So basically, this is what we get out of the box with Laravel herd. Nice. Laravel, which is great. Laravel Breeze. So we could go ahead and register a new account. And you can kind of see if we were to like try to register without a password, for example, we're going to get all of everything you would expect of, any kind of validation, anything like that.
Nice. Okay.
So we could get, client-side validation, but also server-side validation as well.
Nice. Say characters.
There we go.
Very cool. Let's do test 1, 2, 3, 4. Nice.
Awesome. And then this is what you get out of the box with Breeze, which is great because I think it kind of gives you it gives you the scaffolding without kind of being too opinionated of saying like, okay, hey, for the most people, you could just drop your application in here and then you're good to go. Like,
yeah,
you don't
exactly.
have to do too much.
It is very cool. And we have let's try the dark mode. I assume we have dark mode because we said that we wanted it. So let's see. Yeah, we do.
Yep.
Very cool.
There we go. Yeah. So we probably could automatically, have a switcher, or we could build a switcher real quick. But we won't do that right now. But let's go ahead and take a look at the profile view, and then we'll look at the Livewire component as well. So let's take a look at this. So basically,
do I open this in the code?
Yeah, let's do that. Okay. I want to show just a little things about like what Livewire. So here's where it can get a little bit daunting for a lot of JavaScript developers. It was for me when I first, because there's so many folders. With Next.js, you kind of just have app, and then that's it basically, or like pages and like API, whatever. And we'll kind of go through all of these and through them. But the majority of stuff that we're going to be doing is in our app folder, which basically has Livewire and then models. So those are probably like the two folders that we'll kind of be touching. Then we also have our database folder, which is going to be where our migrations go.
Perfect.
So this is where we can see where those users tables was created, where those password tables were created. And this would look a lot familiar to like anybody who's used Prisma, for example, or just creating the table, creating a specific strings and identification or columns within that table.
Nice.
And that migration is basically run top down. So anytime a new migration is generated by PHP Artisan, so we'll do that in a little bit, we basically get a new a new migration file that has a newer date. So it's going to be run top down.
Perfect.
And then resources is where we're going to be hanging out probably the most. So resources basically were all CSS, JavaScript, and views. And because Breeze uses Laravel Livewire, it's called the tall stack by a lot of people. It's basically Tailwind, Alpine, Laravel, and Livewire. And so Livewire is kind of given to us, or Tailwind is kind of given to us out the gate.
Nice.
Within Breeze. So everything is ready to go if we want to just start putting things into our Laravel view. And so like you can see here, this JavaScript file kind of gives you stuff that you don't necessarily need out of the box, but it's almost like ready to go. This Laravel Echo and Pusher is Laravel's version of sockets.
Hmm.
So that's kind of like, it's ready to go for you. Well, we're not going to be using that, but that's one of the things I love about Laravel is the number of different packages that are first party that just kind of come ready to go. So things like sockets, they just released one today that's basically like a application overview. It kind of shows you where your queries are slow, who's performing the most requests, and it's just free. They just give it away.
Nice.
It's awesome.
Very cool.
Awesome. And then the last is the views folder. And this is basically where we'll live. So there's kind of two components or two parts, since there's a components folder. I won't be confusing. There's two parts to the views. There is things that are Laravel specific. And what that means is those are, you'll see all of them have Blade, even ones that have Livewire in them. But Blade is Laravel's templating language, and those are basically just server rendered. So like that dashboard.blade.php, it's all server rendered. There's no Laravel, there's no Ajax requests going on in that dashboard page. But then we have Livewire specific layouts, and that's where we kind of have the ability to just continue to move forward with Laravel and Livewire. So let's go into profile or Livewire profile and take a look at what we're looking at on the web browser. So we'll do the update profile information form.
So that would be
So you can,
this part.
Yep. So you can see
profile
here.
information. Okay.
Yep. So you can see if you were to go into that profile.blade.php a few files down, you can see that this kind of hosts those three Livewire components. And so this is a way of good thinking of, within the Laravel tall stack, if you were thinking of this as a React application.
Right.
This would be, like the template in a way, and then you have different React components. But this is more like, hey, this whole page is server rendered, and those three Livewire components, profile to update, profile to delete, are all unique to those individual components.
Okay.
So
these are still server rendered, but they have like extra features. I'm guessing they have a client side component as well, right? That makes interactivity happen.
Exactly. It has the ability we have the ability to pass information on the server to this component, but we also have the ability to pull information from the server using client-side interaction. So this is where we can kind of scroll up to the top. This is where the single file component kind of lives. So here is where that class exponent. So this might look a little bit weird for JavaScript developers, but it kind of makes a little bit of sense too. So anytime we have a component within Laravel Livewire Vault, we basically can create specific state. So this has a current password confirmation, because we're using those in the form. And then the function is just what we're going to call from the form as update password. And this is doing a couple of cool things that Laravel gives you out of the box as it validates it. But yeah, that wire :submit is what's happening. Is when that form is submitted using a button type of submit, then this just runs, and it kind of intercepts that request and then runs this function. So it's doing a couple of things. It's grabbing the authenticated user. It is resetting the current password on the page. So the field's state on the page. And then this dispatch is specific to Laravel Livewire, where it is saying, okay, the password has been updated. So if we were to scroll down to password updated, at the very bottom, that X action message, this is what Livewire calls events or listeners. Or basically this component that Laravel Breeze gives us out of the box says that, okay, anytime this password has been updated, anytime that password updated event happens, we're just going to display this saved message. So that's kind of where the Livewire and Alpine, that client side action, kind of comes into play.
Okay, a couple questions. Anytime you see X, so this tag with X, does this mean that this is a Livewire component, or is that something else?
Great question. Yeah, so that is a component specific to Laravel's component folder. So if we were to go into that views components folder, we will see everything there. So that action message, primary button, that X dash is kind of just the prefix for anything in this components folder. So Laravel gives you a PHP artisan make component command, where it'll basically give you or scaffold out this component that it's looking for.
Right. Okay. So if I was seeing here this X app layout, this means there is I should find a layout here.
Correct. Yep. Exactly.
So this one is this one.
Yep.
I'm guessing there is some naming convention. Like if it ends with layout, it's on the layouts folder. Is that?
Yeah, exactly. So if it ends with layout, it's in the layout folder, layouts.app, and that's specific.
Layouts.app.
Yep.
Perfect. And then everything else, like if I see something like we were just seeing, oops, what was that? Profile information. These ones here. Okay.
Yep. Exactly. Okay. So layouts are more have a different naming convention, and then than the other components as well.
Nice. And then when I see something, because I saw something very similar, but it's not the same, which is when there's an X attribute that is Alpine, right? So when there is
correct. Yep.
Where did I see that?
Probably in one of the Livewire views, so maybe like one of those profile.
Oh, there are a few here.
Oh, there we go. Yep. So that would be Alpine, correct? Alpine. Yeah. So anything the X data, X init, X dash show, that's Alpine specific. We're in the sense that it's not creating any kind of server side values there, but it is creating client side values.
Right. This is all client side state in a way, managing.
Yep. Exactly. You got it.
And then, and this, where you were talking about this, this wire submit update. No, is this the one that we're looking at? No, we were looking at.
I think we were looking at update password.
Oh, okay. But yeah. So this is pretty much like almost like a server function. Like if you're building like a React server component or an Next.js application where we have my component calling like a function directly that is executing a function on the server.
Exactly.
Very, very cool. I'm curious to see what's the transport mechanism between these two? Is that like an AJAX request, or how's that work?
Yeah. Let's build one out, and then we'll kind of see it live in action. So if we go back to our terminal, let's do.
Let me go back to. Actually, let me open the terminal here. There we go.
Perfect. We'll go PHP artisan, and then make : volt, and then we're going to name it. So this is making a volt component. That's that single file component that we saw. We'll just name this. Let's just do Livewire test. And it doesn't have to be any kind of fancy convention, but usually that dash convention is what we're doing.
Okay.
And awesome. Let's go into that Livewire dash test blade.php. So that was in our Livewire folder. Awesome. Perfect.
There you go.
And then, we forgot to create it as a class component. So this is using functional API, but what we'll do is let's grab, if we go into that Livewire profile page.
Should I create it? Can I create it again? Was the...
Yep. If you delete that file, we'll create it. We can create it again. Let's do that. Just to have it, make it easier for us. Then we're going to do dash class after this as a parameter.
Okay. Gotcha.
Perfect. Awesome. So this kind of scaffolds out everything else. And so what we can do is let's go into the dashboard.blade.php and just kind of get this on the page. What we're going to do instead of let's delete that you're logged in, and just kind of a note here, that double underscore that you kind of see in the dashboard. That's that is Laravel's
Is that
what's it called?
internationalization?
Locale.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
Internationalization. Yep. Exactly. So let's just go ahead and put in
Brackets.
component
Oh,
format. No, so not brackets and like a, I don't even know what you
like
call it.
this, like
Yep.
text. Yeah.
Yep, exactly. Yep, syntax. Let's do Livewire and then colon, and then we'll do Livewire -test.
Yeah.
And then we can just close that bracket.
Like this, auto close.
Yep.
Nice.
Yep. Perfect. Awesome. Now if we were to go into our dashboard,
I'm seeing some love for the Houston theme. Yeah, definitely. I don't know if you, Kevin, is that you who built the Houston theme? But I love it. Yeah.
Astro Houston, is
Yeah.
that what it is?
Yes.
I love it. I love it. So yeah, let's go into our Livewire test, and we can just like write some text in this div. So just to kind of get it rendered onto the page.
Nice.
Awesome. Now if we were to look into our,
so let's go to dashboard.
We should be ready to go.
Hey,
there we
perfect.
go. So as it's running. So let's go ahead and let's do some kind of two-way data binding to kind of show what this Ajax request is doing behind the screen, or what this Livewire request is doing behind the screen. So let's do in class extends component. Let's do public. We're gonna do public, and then we're gonna do $, and we'll just call this text. And then we can just we'll close. We can do that. Perfect. Hello world. Awesome. And then we'll do, let's just go ahead and echo this out in that div. So that's going to be the 2 bracket syntax. And then we can do perfect.
Like that. Text. Perfect.
Exactly. GitHub Copilot helping us out. Awesome.
So this should work. Yeah. Nice. Did I get auto refresh? Perfect. Is that if I change this, do I get? Oh yeah, I get it. Nice. Very nice.
Yep.
Very cool.
It's great to have that out of the box.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let's go ahead and change this on the fly. So let's create a new input, and yeah, we'll do a new input, and let's do wire model text type text. Perfect. Let's do that. Nice. Let's wrap this in a form, so that way we can just have a button with the type of submit, and we'll kind of like have it change on submit to kind of show what this does. Let's add a button with type of submit, and then in our class extends components there at the top, let's do public function. We'll just do submit, and then perfect. We'll do this text equals. Actually, let's create a new one of let's do this. Yeah, let's do this text equals this text basically.
Okay. Do we have to do this because if it's this is this a 2-way data binding you said? So this should be already.
Yep. So what I want to show here is out of the box, wire model only changes the text if you submit a form. So if a form submit happens, then it changes the text. And so then we'll do this, and then we'll change it so that it's live. So let's go ahead and go back to our page and kind of show what this happens. We can pull up the network page as well.
Do I need to do the wire submit here or?
Yep. Sorry. Yep. Wire submit equals submit. And we don't even have to do any kind of thing like prevent default or anything like that. It kind of does it out of the box for us.
Okay. Nice. All right. So let me kind of open this side by side, I guess.
Awesome. So if we were to change any of that and without submitting, you can see that the text isn't updated. So it's not live until we hit submit. Once we hit submit, it should change it. Nice. There we go. And we can see sometimes we have to like refresh the page.
It refreshed. Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was like a hot module reloading
Oh, okay.
thing that it does. But yeah, if we go into the network request, this is where we can see what Livewire is doing when we hit submit. So if we're going to clear that out, hit submit, we're basically sending an AJAX request to get all that information.
Okay.
So it's
So this is perfect.
calls specific
Nice.
method. Yep, exactly.
Saying the method we want to call, params, we're not sending any params. Nice, very cool. This is what we get back, and I'm guessing like Livewire is resolving this and updating the UI.
Yep, exactly.
Very cool.
Exactly.
Very cool.
Yeah, very fancy, very fancy. And then if we were to go back into our code and change it, so it's wired model dot live and on that input.
Column model live. Okay.
Dot live. Sorry.
Oh, dot live. Okay.
There we go. Perfect. Then if we were to save this and change this, the text should automatically be changed.
Ah, I see. So it makes a request on every keystroke.
On every keystroke. Yep. And then there's a whole bunch of cool things that Livewire provides out of the box to also make that. Live is great for search components, which is like, hey, we're searching for something on the page. We want this information to be updated. But then there's also we can kind of wait after specific milliseconds. We can defer it until after you click out of the input. A whole bunch of different properties that just kind of gives you out of the box.
Very cool. And if we do this, then we don't really the submit is not really needed, right? We don't even need this function or anything. Perfect.
Yep. Exactly. Unless we want to save this to the database, then that submit function would be perfect. If we're saying, hey, we're going to save this text to the database somewhere.
Very cool. Very cool. Nice. I love it.
Awesome.
Let me see. There's some comments in the chat. Go straight to Vault to get the max flow coding. Actually, you don't need to auto sign like this. It's built in. Not sure. I'm not sure, Rob, what we were referring to. If you remove line 8, it will work. Line 8. This. Oh, okay. This is talking about this.
That's probably true. I might not be too familiar with that, but I think
so. I
think you could
try that.
Oh,
yeah.
See,
okay.
I learned something too. I knew that there was some kind of shorthand where you could not. I think you didn't have to like assign it to itself.
Right.
But that would make sense because the live is basically doing it automatically, and the submit sends that request.
That is
text.
that is. I guess it's good that you have the option to be implicit. I'm guessing like this to me, if I see an empty function, I immediately think that this function is not doing anything, but it's actually doing something, right? So yeah, it's good to know that you have the two options available for you. That's very interesting.
Yep, exactly. And realistically, you're probably like if you were just wanting to output this data to the page and you weren't wanting to save it to the database or anything like that, this would be the perfect time to use Alpine instead of Livewire. If we were wanting to just replicate everything here, we could use Alpine and solely Alpine and basically say, okay, anytime the input changes, just write it to the client side state. So that way we're not making that server request.
Okay. Makes sense.
Awesome. Do you want to go a little deeper?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sweet. So we can delete everything we've done, and maybe we'll download that repo I sent to you, and that'll give us a starter.
Let's do that.
Starter out of the box. So if we were to clone this, that main branch is the one we want. I made a final branch, which is the one where we can hopefully get to, or at least get some of the way to. Yeah, if we clone this repo, it should be good to go.
I'm trying to paste it in the chat. It's not letting me. Pajaro, thank you for. You asked. Sorry, I missed your message in the chat before. What are we building? What are we creating? We don't know yet. It's a node share application. We'll see in a minute. Thank you for hanging out.
if you want to follow along with this repo, to people in the chat, the main branch is basically the starter branch, and then I have a final branch, which is what we're hopefully build, or at least get some of the way there. There's a couple stuff that we'll probably won't get all the way, but yeah, the gist of this, to kind of show as much Laravel as we can, is we already saw the breeze part of, okay, we can log in, create accounts, all that, but we're going to be able to type up notes. So basically a subject line, body line, and who we want to send it to, save them to our tenant.
I already have a note share. Hold on.
Yeah, I should have called our first one.
I'll just jump into my other folder and do this.
Awesome. And then within this terminal, let's go ahead and so there's two. We have to npm install, and then we have to composer.
Okay. I'm guessing, do I need a version of Node, a specific version of Node? Should I use?
We shouldn't. Yeah, whatever. I just built this morning, so
Nice.
we should be good to go with whatever one we get. And then if we do a composer install. Perfect. And the only thing I added, for those who are kind of following along, the only thing I added is a component library called Wire UI, mostly just so we wouldn't have to build out all the Tailwind stuff and kind of do that. But that it's basically specific for Livewire, where it gives you, buttons with loading spinners and all that.
Very cool. So here, I guess I'm gonna stop this and
stop that, and then we'll do npm run dev and PHP artisan serve.
Perfect. So this is running Vite. npm run dev runs Vite, and then
yes, that's correct. Yep. So fun fact, Laravel used to, up until about a year ago, used to run Webpack. Or its own specific version of Webpack called Laravel Mix, and then just updated to Vite recently.
I need to run the migration. Is that what I'm missing?
Yep. Sorry. Yep. We need to run PHP artisan migrate.
Okay.
And we'll say yes. Up here, it's because we don't have an env file. That is the reason why. So let's go ahead and do into the code. We'll just copy the env.example too. But yeah, we'll create a new env file.
Oops, that's not it.
Perfect. Paste that in. A few things we'll want to change is in this env file is go up to the top, and we can change the app name if we want.
So say
we'll just say note share. We can comment out everything under DP connection, the DB host to DB password. We can just comment that out.
Everything here?
Yep, there. Perfect. And then we'll change DB connection to SQLite. I should update this repo to have a better env example. But let's go back into let's save that and go back into PHP artisan migrate to see if I remembered everything. Perfect. Yes, we'll
nice.
Great. Awesome. So
this was PHP artisan serve, was that?
Yep, PHP artisan serve.
Okay. And that should be
perfect. We should get something. Oh, and then if you click on that generate app key button right there, and then we can refresh now.
Nice.
Awesome. So let's create. Actually, let's take a look at the migration that we created. So let's go into the note migration. Before we create an account, let's actually, I kind of generated this for us, but what this file gives is PHP artisan DB or a PHP artisan make migration. And this is what we kind of made a migration for our notes. And then we also have an empty note model. So if we were to go into app models, we have an empty note model ready to go. So let's go ahead and create our notes. That way we're ready to go. So the first thing that we'll do is go into our note migration.
Is this one or?
Yes. Okay. Perfect. Yep. And then we'll go and we'll kind of, let's do a first off, we'll kind of add this to the user. So that way it's synced to the user. So underneath table ID, what we'll do is create a table, and then that forward will go foreign ID. Perfect. And yep, that's perfect. What GitHub's recommending.
This?
Perfect. Yep. That works great.
Constraint cascade. Okay.
So basically what this is doing is linking it to the user ID table. Since we're on a relational database, constraint just means that it's going to take the user's ID and put it onto our user ID column in notes. Then we'll create a string of subject.
All right.
Perfect. We'll create a text of body.
Perfect.
We'll create a string of recipient. And we'll make that one nullable, actually, just in case we ever want to.
So how is that?
Yep, perfect. Yep, exactly. You got it. Nullable. Yep, exactly.
Gotcha.
You're pro.
It's very good when an API is predictable like this. Like it's just a sign of a very good API.
It makes it so readable that I don't really know PHP. I don't think I guess I kind of know it just from muscle memory now, but I just kind of write normal text. We'll do a table Boolean of published. And we'll set that to, if you go default, what Copilot is kind of recommending, we'll set that to false.
Yep.
So this is basically just setting that published value to false. And then we'll do a table date of send date. So send underscore date. And we'll have that be nullable as well. And then we'll do integer, so table integer, and then we'll do heart underscore count. So basically the goal with this is be able to create the specific notes, and we'll put that to a default of 0. Yep, you got it. Exactly. Perfect.
Very cool.
Awesome. So what the goal of this is be able to create a new application and then be able to have them publicly be viewed and kind of update those or click on a heart and be able to update that heart count.
Nice. Very cool.
Awesome. So let's go into our terminal real quick and we'll kind of reset everything because we already migrated with an empty notes table. So what we'll do is PHP.
Oops. I need to log into my, no, it was experiments. Notes share.
Yes. Perfect. So we'll go PHP artisan DB : I believe it's called, what is it called? Rollback?
I don't have Copilot in my terminal, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's called rollback.
All right, let's try that.
All one word.
It's not defined. Oh. Okay, so we got migrate rollback. Is that
migrate rollback? There we go. Yeah, there we go.
Someone is suggesting migrate fresh. Is that the same thing?
Yeah, migrate fresh would do it too. Yeah. Let's do
migrate.
Because we're okay with wiping everything. We haven't done anything yet.
Nice.
Thank you, chat. Awesome. So we have this ready to go. So let's go ahead and create a new user. So that way we kind of see what we're dealing with.
So here,
Yeah, I'm going to register.
let's see, user test 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops. There you go.
Perfect. Awesome. And if we go into let's click on notes. Sweet. So I kind of like scaffolded out some basic UI so that way we can kind of connect all this together. If we were to, I don't think I set up that create note just yet. So what we'll do is let's go into our note model and we'll kind of get this ready for us to go. So here's where that MVC kind of takes into place. So first off, we'll start off with declaring what can be filled. So basically what this does is we can kind of call a specific fillable item. So we'll do protected fillable. Looks like
I got a suggestion. Is a $sign fillable or?
Yep, $sign fillable. Sorry, yep.
All right.
And then perfect. Yep, we can just kind of take all that because we have subject. We'll also do user ID as well. We'll add that.
User ID is also fillable?
Yes.
Okay. That's a very useless comment.
Awesome. Yeah. And then we'll do a public function after this.
I don't know why it's all wrong. All right, there you go. Public
function, and then we'll do user. Perfect. And that's what we want. So this is basically saying we can call notes and then the method of notes user, and we just automatically get the user that this note is associated with.
Okay. And it knows, like by convention, I guess, that user ID is the ID of the user model. Is that how it works?
Yep, exactly. So if we wanted to get the ID of the user from that convention and we only had that note as a property, we would say, note method of user method or ID. So it would be note user ID. Yep.
Okay.
So this just kind of gives us the whole users. That way we can say, okay, hey, give me all of the notes from a user, but give me the user who's associated with this particular note if we ever want to use their name or their email in that view. So what we can also do is if we go into the user model, we can create a public function notes.
Sorry, I was reading.
Sorry, in the user model. If we do that instead.
Right. Public function notes. There's a comment about guarded. It says guarded is shorter than fillable. Is that like the opposite of fillable? Is that how it works?
Yep. And this is probably where like I probably don't do everything like that. That's in the conventions of Laravel. I know that guarded. So Chat can probably knows better than me in this specific case, but I believe guarded is the opposite of fillable. So basically, if we have a guarded method on the model, then anything that's not in that guard method is then fillable. So it's like the reverse.
Right.
Which is probably better for us to do than fillable because that way we're not typing it out. I just usually default to fillable because that way I know exactly kind of what's related to my model. And there's probably a bunch of different ways to do it, but I like fillable. That way I can like look at my model and be like, oh yes, I am only able to edit or save information that I have declared there and not the inverse.
Okay.
Because then I get a lot of errors sometimes of like, oh, I forgot to put that in my fillable.
Gotcha.
It's great for security.
This isn't necessarily related to the UI, right? It doesn't mean like we're going to change these fields via the UI. It means that some other part of the application is gonna assign values to those attributes in the
Yep.
model. Okay.
Yep. So that fillable or the guarded, the inverse would basically be that is able to be edited by your Laravel application at some point.
Right. Okay. So if I try from somewhere else, let's say I have a view or something that tries to manually fill some timestamp in this model, it's gonna give me an error because I can't.
Yep.
It can't do that. Okay. Sounds good.
Correct. Yep. So the timestamp is usually not entered into fillable because whenever a model is generated, the timestamp is automatically generated.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right. So public function nodes. I'm guessing here we want the reverse of what we did here.
Yep. So if we do a return, we'll do, and GitHub Copilot's probably doing it. We'll do this has many.
Has many nodes. Okay. Makes sense.
Perfect. Awesome. So let's, why don't we create a new node. So that way our model, it looks like it's all ready for us to go. So what we can do, if we go into our resources views,
Okay.
and then I created this notes folder. We have create. And what we'll do is basically take some of this, we'll take this form and put it into a new Livewire Volt class. So if we do if we go into our terminal and create a new Volt class, we can kind of make this happen.
How did I do that?
So we'll do PHP artisan.
Yes.
Make :volt.
Okay.
And then we'll do a notes dot. So dot syntax to kind of say that this is going to be in a specific folder. Then we'll do create dash note.
Perfect. And we want
and then we'll dash class. Yep. Perfect. Yep.
Gotcha.
Awesome.
Is there a convention here with the structure of this views folder? Does it relate to routing in any way, or is that not related?
It does not relate to routing in any way. So we can get there as well, but it does not relate to routing in any way. There's probably some better conventions than I do. I'm not one to be perfect on conventions and what happens. And actually, let's actually in.
Seems like I had this not what we wanted, right?
Yep. Let's delete that and do it again. I forgot it's notes /. So we need a slash.
Okay.
Yep.
So, this is not what we run this. / create note.
Yep. Perfect. And that should, there we go. Yep. There we go.
Gotcha.
Awesome. So let's go into our, notes create. And then we will take this form. So everything within that form, let's just copy that and add a new, actually, let's take the form itself too.
Okay.
Perfect. And then we'll copy that, but then we'll input the Livewire : and this is where we can do the dot syntax. So we'll
put that here in this component.
Yep.
Okay.
That'd be perfect. Yep. Let's do that. And then let's go ahead and make it so that create page outputs this Livewire component. So if we go into this, awesome. And then this is where we'll do Livewire : This is where we can do the note syntax. So it's going to be notes dot create note.
Gotcha.
Awesome. So let's go into our routes just to show like where this is.
Is that in the app? No, we're kind of on the routes.
Sorry. Yeah, we have not looked at that yet. So we're going to go into it is in the resources.
There is a route folder.
Oh, yep. Sorry. Routes folder. And then web.php. So this is where it kind of has more than you need. So you have API folders ready to go. You have channels for channels for like pusher notifications and everything like ready to go. So I created this notes.create. And so this is where you mentioned, does the folder structure matter? It doesn't really matter. There is a Livewire application or Livewire, what's it called? A package that has page-based routing where you can kind of have pages / notes and it just automatically does it for you. But this is the default way of doing it within routing, where we can say, okay, anytime someone hits notes / create, we're going to hit that notes.create. So that blade folder. Yep, exactly. And we have the middleware of auth already generated for us. So that way we know that, okay, no one can go into this create folder unless authentication happens.
Nice. Makes sense.
Perfect. Let's jump into that Livewire create -notes. Perfect. And then we'll kind of let's do we're going to create a couple of different states. So in that class extends component, let's do public and then $ note subject. Perfect. And then we'll do public note body. We'll do a note recipient. Perfect. Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Awesome. And then what we'll do is we'll have a public function of submit. Awesome. And what we'll do is we'll have, let's validate this for, it's kind of giving us everything we need to do.
We need all this.
Let's take it. Let's take it. Let's take it.
Okay. So validating that this field is required. This is an email. Is that correct? Recipient.
Yep. So that would be an email. We can even do some more validation as well, where we can also say this note subject, we could have it be required. We can have it be a string as well. So if we do colon or not colon, that
the pipe,
we can have it be a min of 5 and then another pipe of string, for example.
String. Okay, that's good.
We can do the same thing with the note body if we want to. We'll make it required with a min of 10 and a string.
Nice.
Awesome. And then here, what we can do, and since we have a component, what we'll do is we'll just wire model all of this up. So in our, we can actually remove the session flash. Let's remove that.
Okay. Do we need this? The auth user notes create?
Yep. So basically what this is doing is it's grabbing the authenticated user. So only someone who's authenticated could do this. We couldn't modify this from the client side. The authenticated user is going to create, that was kind of like that model notes function that we created. So that way we know that this note is automatically going to be associated with that user.
Yep.
We don't have to input that auth ID manually.
Yep.
And we can actually, so the subject, body, and recipient is all going to be inputted. But at the end of this, let's create a send date or in that create. Yep. Perfect. Yeah, let's do send date, and we'll just do now add day instead of days.
A day. Okay.
Perfect. So this is basically saying, okay, we'll have a send date of tomorrow.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Awesome. So now let's wire model all of it up. And what that means is you're basically going to add wire model to all of the inputs, wire : model, and we're going to do wire : model note subject. Perfect. Let's do the same thing. This was note body.
Note body.
And then note recipient.
Recipient. Okay.
Perfect. And then in the form, we'll do a wire submit equals submit. Awesome. And then I like to throw in a little extra. If you at the end of the button right there.
Yep. Inside the button, like inside the button here, or
or outside of the button, but before the form closes, we'll do a bracket x dash errors, and then we'll auto close that.
All right.
This just gives us this is the component library that we pulled in Wire UI. It gives us we won't see it because it's shown, it's a vendor package, which
Right. It's not
basically
here, but it's it's provided by some
it-
third party.
Yep, exactly. Exists. And I think there's some styling that we can add, but in that X button, what we'll do is just for fun, let's do a as an attribute, just call spinner.
Like that?
Perfect. Yep.
All right.
Perfect. So this is not Laravel specific. That's just the component library.
Okay.
Awesome. So let's take a look at what this looks like on the page. So if we click on create note.
Right.
Perfect. So we have, let's see if we wired everything up. So if we were to try to create this.
Let's say Laravel is pretty cool. I can say get out. And I'm gonna send it to. I'm just gonna send it to myself. Can I send it to myself? I guess I can.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's do
There we go. And let's see. Let me see how it happens here. Oh, are we submitting?
Let's see. Oh, we might have forgotten to put the type submit on the button. Let's check it out.
Oh yes, we don't have that.
Yep. There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
All right, let's try again. Laravel's pretty cool. Check it out. It's not. Let's see. Let's see any requests.
Let's see. X button type submit. Oh, type equals submit. On the button.
Oops.
There we go.
All right.
Round 3.
Laravel.
3 times the charm.
It's pretty cool. Let's do the short version. Okay.
Awesome.
So I need redirect me because I have this. I have this redirect.
Yep. Exactly. So we could pull up the SQLite database if we want to in some program, but basically we should have that ready to go. So what I'm going to do is let's
check it out. It should be. Where's my SQLite file?
If it's going to be up in the database.
Oh, database
folder up the top, and then database.sqlite.
All right. I don't have any. Yeah, that's fine. I don't have any.
That's okay. What we'll do is if we go to let's just build out the view page of this. So what we'll do is on notes index.
Yes.
What we'll do is let's just show all of these notes. So let's just go ahead and copy paste this for convenience. If we go into let's make a new Volt component called PHP artisan make Volt, and we'll notes / show dash notes, and then the class based.
Okay.
Perfect. Now if we go into that GitHub repo I sent you, let's go ahead and copy all of that, so that way we kind of have it ready to go.
This one?
Make sure
or is there another repo or?
Yeah, if you go into the branch dropdown, let's go into final.
Oh, yes. Very cool.
Perfect. And then in resources, views, and then Livewire, notes, and then show dash notes.
Show the notes. Perfect.
Let's just go ahead and copy all that.
Very nice. So that was on index, right? Oh no, show notes. There you
go. And I think we might have to add the PHP to the top.
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. Perfect. And then in the notes index is where we can input this Livewire component. So let's go ahead and we can.
Should I copy
that.
Should I copy the index from the repo? Or?
Yeah, we can do that. I think I basically delete everything there. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah,
that's good.
We'll just grab that. Just because it's all in the.
Nice.
Perfect. Let's go ahead and see.
Oh, I see a lazy attribute here. Was that?
Yeah, this is a cool functionality. Just because, so database queries can be expensive. You know, they can be slow.
What's happening?
Oh, it's because I have. It's because we have a view that is not defined yet.
Right. That's on.
It will be in the show notes Livewire. We can just delete it for now. What we'll do is if we go into that notes dash view, the X button dot circle at the very close to the very bottom, it says route notes dot view.
Notes dot view. Okay. Yeah.
We can just delete that. What's inside the href there? Yeah.
Let's comment that out. Do I need to delete it, or do I have another one? Notes.
Yeah,
well, I'll just do what you said. I'm just gonna remove that.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
Okay, perfect. So we have this going, and that loading spinner is what you see for lazy. So if we were to go into that Livewire component, we see at the top a placeholder function that's kind of given to us. This is just an SVG loading spinner, but basically what Livewire is kind of doing out of the box is it's kind of that progressive enhancement that is really cool in React and everything else right now, is it will load everything on the page in notes.index, except for that Livewire component. It will place that HTML placeholder there until everything has been pulled in. So if we need to, hit a third-party API and pull a bunch of data and then place everything on the screen, it's going to take a little while.
Right.
So it will.
So is it streaming the rest, or is it making a request and then how's that?
Yep. It's making a request, and then once that request is updated. So even if we want to take a look at this even further, let's go into that Livewire component, and in the with function, before we return, let's just do a sleep. So sleep, and then in brackets, let's do 3. So for 3 seconds. And then for it to go back 1, 2, 3. So then it pulls it in.
Right. Okay.
Yep. So it's just making one request, but we're rendering everything on the screen until that request can come in.
Right.
Yep. So it is not streaming. There are some cool things you can do with Livewire and streaming.
Nice. So okay. So if I don't use lazy, is it gonna? Let me try it out.
If you don't use lazy, what's going to do? If you go into like dashboard, for example. So
it's loading the entire page. It's loading.
Yep. Loading the entire page.
Okay.
And the cool part is, if you were to go into the dashboard page now, and click on notes, you should see a loading spinner up on the top.
Right.
Kind of see that SBA, because Livewire has a functionality called wired::navigate. It's fetching that information behind the scenes, so it's not doing a full page refresh for things like navigation, which is great.
Nice. Almost like
lazy
TurboLinks or one of those.
Yep.
Navigation.
Exactly. Yeah.
But with lazy, I don't have to worry about that because it's right. So it's giving me, this is included in the original HTML, and then the rest comes in another request. Makes sense.
Yep. Exactly.
Very cool.
So Livewire has loading spinners just like React and React. Cool. Awesome. Let me think of what's the next step, because I know we only have a couple more minutes. But Yeah, I think the next step I'd love to do is why don't we get into a little bit more? Why don't we get one server side thing out of the way, and do okay? We have this show notes. We created a note on December 2nd is when the send date is. They're up the top.
Right.
What if we created a job to say, okay, every day, let's check which notes are set with a send date of December 2nd, and
Mm-hmm.
let's do something with them. Let's email them.
Right.
So
Someone someone in the chat is commenting about inertia. Is that the way that you were mentioning before? Is that the sort of the bridge between React or some other framework like Vue.js and Laravel? Is that
yep,
the role of inertia?
exactly. So inertia, actually, so Livewire, or the Laravel stacks that come out of the box include both Vue and React, but Inertia also has options for Svelte too, which I like as well.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the basics of it is everything that you're doing in the Vue is just going to be done in React. It's just going to be done in Vue or Svelte or whatever you prefer. But you're getting those props sent to you from Laravel. So one of the cool things about Inertia is if you click on the that forms page, that's where a lot of the nifty pieces are going to come into play. So if you were to click on React, there in the tab, we can see some React code.
Laravel will make all data you need available in your React or other front. Okay, so no, I don't need like an API endpoint.
Yep, exactly. So it's cool. Instead of having to create API endpoints and authenticate it and send tokens over and everything like that, all of the authentication piece is done for you. You just basically take the data that's passed into the view and view it. So if you were to look into the pages over there on the basic,
here, oh yes,
yep, that's where you can kind of see that. Okay, user.name. So that user is being passed as a prop from the inertia route within your controller, for example. And so now all of the information that you need is being passed without having to define an API route to actually pass it.
Very cool. So it feels to me like almost like the opposite of Livewire in a way. Is that because in Livewire I feel like I'm writing a PHP component and then I can add sort of the interactivity, and here I'm writing a React component, but I'm adding the PHP parts, like I'm bringing the PHP parts from inertia.
Yep, exactly. The part, yeah, I think that's extremely fair to put it. It's where, of course, inertia does have options for server-side rendering if you want it, but you're making sure that all the information you need is passed to this view so that you can do with it whatever you want. Whereas within Livewire, you are server rendering everything, and it just comes with the view. So you could pull in PHP. You could run server side logic within your Blade file and still have that information.
Right.
But the great thing about React, this is you have a little bit more. You have just as much control over what gets passed to the client. So, for example, you don't want to pass, everything about the user. You could say, "Hey, I want the user being sent to the React component, but I only want the user's name, not the user's Stripe ID or something like that."
Right. Very, very nice. This definitely feels more familiar. I guess for most JavaScript developers, they will be much more comfortable in a way writing this style of building this component. But I'm a big fan of Livewire. I love having this control, and it seems like it's also very, very flexible. So
yeah, I would say one of the things that
is that do people use them both? People use both Inertia and Livewire in the same project, or is that not something that happens?
I think there's a lot of people. There's a guy called Ian Landsman who's been doing Livewire or Laravel for a while. I know that he uses kind of both. There's a lot of people who do just because there are some functionalities that React provides, or just some component libraries that React provides that just make it a lot easier.
Right.
So you can still use like an inertia route for a particular part of your application, but the rest could be Livewire, for example. There's no one way in saying it, because inertia basically just gives you a method to basically say, okay, when /notes is hit, I'm going to pass this specific inertia view.
Right. Okay.
Which is React on the front end.
Makes sense. So I might have like an application that is using Livewire all over the place, but maybe I want to use a date picker component or something that is a React component, and I have to opt into React for that. So inertia gives you that flexibility.
Yep, and on each page you probably wouldn't have both, but like for example, within an application that I'm building, there's a video, kind of like a Loom, an open source Loom thing where you can kind of like record a video on the page, and it was much easier to build a Svelte component where I'm basically passing information to that as one full page, and then I can just, since it's still on the same backend, it's still on the same everywhere. I would say the part about the difference to me between Livewire and React is, I think React, especially if you're like those kind of separation of concerns, you're like, okay, I have my model, I have my controller, and I'm passing things to the view, I'm passing things to the front end. That feels a lot more isolated. And I think that's a good thing. Just like you mentioned, it's okay, everything that's getting passed to the user, I have control over that. Where Livewire is very much blended in a lot of ways, right, of saying like, I have this whole application that's being processed. I have this whole data being sent over the wire based off of anything that I need. I could call, give me all the notes from a completely different user in my Livewire component up on the top, and I have that information available in the view.
Right. Perfect. Okay, so you were about to show me the jobs. Is that a Laravel job? Is that right? Do we have time to
awesome.
cover that? I know we're at the scheduled time at least. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, I have a little bit more time if you're okay with that.
Yeah. Let's go for it.
Awesome, perfect. And for those who are still following along, as well, the final GitHub repo kind of has all of this, and there's some really cool stuff. I'll maybe like make a video later of like, or maybe I'll come back on the stream and we'll do the rest. We'll do the rest of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
But let's do a new job. So if we go into, let's actually first do a new console. So what we'll do is PHP artisan.
Yep.
Make command.
Like that.
And then and then we'll do camel case, or not camel case. The camel case where the first one is a capital as well. We'll do send schedule notes.
Like that. Schedule notes.
Perfect. Yep. Awesome. So if we go into our app console and then command send schedule notes, this is basically where we can say in this handle function, I can do anything here within the console and return it. So we can actually copy this from the repo as well, just to kind of get us into a similar place. App console commands. Perfect.
So,
but here's the cool part. Yeah, perfect. Awesome. So here's the cool part about what I think is works great within Laravel, that because it's a full featured backend framework. We did a lot of stuff on the front end with Livewire and stuff like that. But because it's a full featured backend framework, we can have things like cron jobs running in the background without doing anything. So what we can do now is if we go into app console kernel, we can schedule this command to run. So we can go in that schedule method. We can do schedule command app send schedule notes, but then we could even do something like, instead of every minute, let's do time zone. So if we do time zone method, and then we could, in those brackets, we could do America/New York. Yep, perfect. And then we could do daily instead of every minute. We could do daily at. So perfect. And then we could do like at 9 a.m.
Beautiful.
So what we could say is like, hey, now, I just from experience, I know that there's a whole bunch of cool things now with like ingest and stuff like that, different services. But just from experience, it's very difficult to set up something like this in Node.js where you're like, hey, every day I want to run something.
Oh yeah. Like a manual cron job. Like I don't even know. Like every time I have to do a cron job, I have to. Well, now you have ChatGPT, and I guess you can trust ChatGPT to generate the right
Generate your own
string.
cron job.
But yeah, I have to be careful because it's always like, oh, is this 9 a.m. on for Europe or for my time zone? This is beautiful. Like I love how readable this is, and yeah, this is just absolutely amazing that it comes with the framework.
Yeah, and the great thing is like the command that we built, and we could in the send schedule notes command. If we were to go back into that, let's go ahead and just instead of for each notes, just because of where it is, instead of the send email part, let's just do this info, and then we'll just say sending note, and just so we can get something in the console, let's do where date.
Here or
yes, perfect. We'll do where date, send date, and then in the second parameter we'll go now, and then I think it's add 1 day. So instead of the in between the 2 date string, we'll do add. Let's see.
1 day like that.
I think. Let me double check. Notes. I believe is add day. Sorry.
All right. So when date is tomorrow, I guess, and send date, and the time is less than
greater than or equal to right now. Yeah.
Okay.
Or less than or equal to right now. Awesome. So the great part about that kernel is, okay, that schedules this cron job, but then we also have that command ready to be run on our server as well. So if we go to our terminal, we could go. We can do PHP artisan, and then app : send dash scheduled dash.
Do you have to use the same?
Nope. It can all be lowercase actually.
Okay.
So it'd be, and then it'd be dash. So this is where, in that notes, in that send scheduled notes command, we actually create a, we have a defined signature all ready to go. So if we were to run this, it's because
Carbon not found. Am I missing
we didn't import carbon in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so if we do use carbon backspace carbon.
Oh, carbon backspace carbon.
Yep.
Okay.
Perfect. There we go.
Let's try it again.
Oh.
Am I missing? Did I miss some imports when I copied this? Oh, because I only copied the. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we only copied that. Yeah, there we go.
There we go.
Perfect. Let's try now. Awesome.
Nice. Number node 0. I'm guessing that's because of the time. If I do,
because we
could do that, and
it's probably because of the add day. Because I built it for.
Oh, is it published? Do we set publish to true? Is that? Let me actually do this.
Yeah, but we probably didn't actually publish the notes. That's probably why.
I think that's. Is that something? Yeah, let's just say that false. Yeah, there we go.
There we go. Awesome. Yeah. So the great part about it is like, okay, yes, you have that cron job, but then you also just have this command that you can build out
Right.
within it as well. And then, within that, so in the final repo that I have, there's things that you can do within that command. It's not only can you just send an email, for example, but we could that send email dispatch is basically going to create a whole new queue where for every note that needs to be sent, let's say you have 20 users
Hmm.
and every user has 5 notes that they need to send. Well, then you could set up a queue within, and Laravel gives you a whole bunch of options within the database or within Redis or anything like that. We can set up a queue that says, okay, we're just going to queue all of those to send a background job to send the email. So that way you're not waiting on the server
Right.
running this command to do it all, which is also very hard to do within JavaScript.
I love that. I love that because it's definitely, this is something that it's almost like table stakes for every application. Every app needs to
Mhm.
send email notifications and at a scheduled time or whatever, and having this like this utilities available, it's just amazing. I love that. I love that.
Awesome. Yeah, the between emails and then background jobs, it was very tough for me to be like I when I was working strictly with JavaScript, I was like, I don't know how to do something that if it takes longer than a minute to do, I don't
Right.
really know how to do it. It was I'm not smart enough to know, okay, how do I do this within JavaScript? So Laravel, I can just be like, okay, make it be a queue, and if it takes 20 minutes, my users don't know because they just
Right.
it runs in the background.
Yeah, I'm looking at just browsing the documentation. You can see all the stuff that comes with it: rate limiting, task scheduling, notifications. It's very very robust. I love that. And also, I was noticing here that we touched on some of this, but this ecosystem portion.
Mhm.
Um,
This is the
it's a
neat
ton
part.
of stuff. Like it basically has everything, like for every need. I guess you have a. I guess these are packages, or we use Breeze,
Mhm.
but the rest are like packages that you can plug in right into your.
Yep, exactly. We used Breeze. We used
Oh, we use
Herd
Herd.
for the most part. We used
Right.
Inertia, or we didn't use Inertia. We talked about Inertia. Yeah, all of these are like either packages or just things that Laravel provides. So like Spark, for example, is a paid package.
Mm-hmm.
Forge and Vapor are paid packages. But there's stuff that are first party packages or offerings that the framework provides, which is great because it's built by the same people who are building the framework.
Mm-hmm.
I think you see how popular this is with Next.js and Vercel because they're giving you so much out of the box. But for example, I run most of my stuff on Vapor, which is basically a deployment platform for AWS,
Mm-hmm.
where I can just point my GitHub repo to it and it just deploys to AWS. I haven't touched AWS except for like to verify a domain name or something like that. But it just gives you all of the stuff out of the box of setting up queues, of setting up emails, of setting up, background jobs, that kind of stuff without having to do it. So they do have some paid offerings like Forge and like Vapor,
Mm-hmm.
as well as like Spark, which is like a Stripe subscription platform where you can have you can connect your Stripe account and you just can basically get a whole billing portal ready for your user.
Nice. And I know the one that I was familiar with was like a back end or back office sort of. I think it was Nova, this administration panel.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
this one
Yep.
looked pretty cool because it has everything that you need also for most apps. Like you need some way to look at your users, and um, I guess this is fully flexible, so you can have every sort of feature, different plans, different roles, things like that.
Yep.
Pretty cool.
Exactly. And there's stuff like that make it nice. Like you have a lot of opinions, but you also have a lot of just stuff given to you
Hmm.
out of the box within. So like there's Nova, there's another admin package called Filament, which is a free and open source one. But yeah, basically being able to say, okay, I have all my users. Now just give me a page that shows me all the users and I can edit them and impersonate them, stuff that just saying that would probably take you, a couple of days to
Yeah.
build out. But it gives you within minutes of being able to say, hey, here's my admin database panel, for example.
Yeah.
Like we can even take a look at the demo here, which is it's funny because one of my applications is built completely in this, so it's not just for admin panels. It could also be used as an application itself too.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. You just create users and you give this this.
Yeah,
this is for a blog next to that. Right.
Yeah, they could create their own notes, for example.
Their
all the stuff we did,
CMS.
but you could do it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Very cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, there was some love for or some mentioning of Filament as well as a novel alternative here in the chat. So very cool. I love it. I love all of this. I know for sure that my next sort of real life project that I take on will be with Laravel. So
awesome.
I'm very excited to
then you can use inertia, so that way you can move at light speeds with React, which I can't. So if you use inertia, I feel like you could get a lot of stuff done.
I guess it will be, I guess for a lot of the sort of interactivity, client-side interactivity will be more familiar to me using React, using use state or whatever I need to do than maybe using Alpine, for example. But yeah, I know that in a lot of cases that's not really needed. Like you don't have to use React on all the things. So
yeah, like this, for example, this Filament demo that we're looking at. So I think Nova is built with Vue. I could be wrong on that, but I believe Nova is built with Vue. But Filament, this is all Livewire and Alpine.
Nice. Very cool. Very cool. Thank you, MV Popak, for suggesting. Like, definitely, I'll follow you on Twitter. I'm following more and more Laravel people on Twitter, which is
we're taking over.
Yeah, that's why I'm seeing so much about Laravel lately, just because I'm expanding my circle. But I love all of it. Josh, thank you so much for joining me today. Go follow Josh again. Also, let me oops. Yeah, I have it right. I'll pitch the news. Well, not pitch, but I'll just give a shout out to a newsletter. If you're not subscribed to a newsletter, this is something I write every couple of weeks. So I send an email every couple of weeks about software architecture, software design for front-end developers. So if you're a front-end developer and you want to learn more about managing complexity and all that sort of stuff, it's just an email every 2 weeks. So sign up if you are interested. Go follow Josh. You can follow me at Charka as well. And anything else, Josh? Where can people find you other than Twitter? Any projects you want to give a shout out to?
Yeah. Well, first of all, your newsletter is fantastic. So if you're not subscribed to that, definitely listen. I learned so much. I'm not a good front end person, so I'm getting better, and Maxi's helping me with that.
Oh, thank you.
If I also have a YouTube, that's youtube.com/@Josh Cirre that I'm trying to post more about. So I just recently started posting some videos. So a lot of the info here, but I'm also, just because Maxi kind of gave me the opportunity to do this, I'll probably create a video where we build out the full application that we didn't get to build out today, which includes things like security policies, authorization, the email scheduling piece, everything like that. So some fun stuff. I'm excited to finalize that video for. I appreciate, Maxi, you inviting me onto the stream. It's awesome just to be able to talk about Laravel. There's a lot of more smarter people than me in the Laravel ecosystem. So like people like Aaron Francis, Ian Landsman, Caleb Porzio, whole bunch of different people. So definitely follow them before you follow me.
No, I appreciate you coming in. You definitely know much more about this than I do. So yeah, thank you for joining and teaching us. Go follow Josh on Twitter, on YouTube, and and if happy to chat again, and anytime you want to come and share something else, Laravel related or not, you can feel free to. Let's do this again. It was fun.
Awesome, I appreciate it.
All right. Well, thank you, Chad, for hanging out with us. We'll this will be posted on YouTube, I guess, on my own YouTube channel, which I only use to post stream recordings. But yeah, this will be live for you to rewatch anytime. So yeah, thank you all for hanging out, and see you next time.
Awesome.